Who's watching stablecoin issuers? It's time for audits and supervision to be explained. Well, at least reviewed. Hey, everybody. If reserves are the engine and redemption is the brake test, then audits and supervision are the dashboard, the instruments that tell you whether the engine is actually running correctly and how fast are we going. Today, we're going through the section of the RFC within the OCC proposal for stablecoin, which deals with how stablecoin issuers will be audited, supervised, and required to report to the public and to the OCC. This is big, important stuff. Let's start with external audits. The OCC asked how rigorous the annual audit requirement should be. Okay, all payment channels have some type of audit requirement in them. It's different amongst them, but they have it there. So the questions are coming up. Should the external auditor provide reasonable assurance, the same standard required for a bank or financial audits, or is a lower standard acceptable? And even more critically, should the auditor specifically attest to compliance with the reserve requirements, not just the financials? Here's why that particular distinction does matter. There's a big difference between an auditor saying, we reviewed management's reserve reports versus we independently examined compliance with the reserve rules and we're prepared to attest they're doing it right. That's a huge level of responsibility and difference right there. One is a review. The other is a genuine third-party verification. So the OCC is asking, which standard should apply to stablecoin issuers? On monthly reporting, which we saw in the Genius Act, the OCC proposes that issuers publish monthly reserve composition reports. These are great because they would tell the public exactly what assets are backing the stablecoin, the categories, the maturities, all the works, right? The OCC is asking whether these reports should be filed with the regulator only or made public. That's a really interesting one there because it raises the question of whether reporting should eventually move toward real-time disclosures as well. My opinion, I like it public, I like it real-time. My opinion. You make your comments in the RFC. There's a timing tension here worth flagging. If you publish the report before the external accountant completes their examination, you get faster transparency, but potentially less reliable numbers. If you wait for the examination to finish, the numbers are more reliable, but the disclosures are coming later. The OCC is asking, what's the right balance here that we need to have? No, I'm not doing 6-7. I want the balance to really be here. Oh, and what about supervision? The OCC is asking how the ongoing supervisory process should work for national stablecoin issuers. We're focusing on national at the moment. How frequently should examinations occur? Should the OCC have authority to conduct special examinations during stress periods? Should there be graduated enforcement responses for different types of valuations? There's also a governance question that it seems like kind of got buried in this section. And that is where the OCC asked whether stablecoin issuers should be required to maintain a robust board level oversight of risk and compliance, very similar to what is expected today of our national banks and most banks and credit unions, period. This means independent directors, active audit committees, and formal board reviews of examination findings. I like seeing all this. The way I see this section, audits and supervision are the accountability layer for the entire framework. You can write perfect reserve rules and even perfect redemption standards, but without, let's go with rigorous, independent verification, you're relying on trust rather than evidence. Always believe in trust, but verify. The OCC is trying to build a supervision model that provides a real accountability, not just paper compliance. This section doesn't get as much attention as it may as reserves or redemption, okay? But it may be just as important in the long run. For now, this is the part where I say, make sure to subscribe. There's more in the series. You don't want to miss anything, but class dismissed.